Both of my selections are fantasy novels for young readers. In this case, I'm classifying young readers as ages 8 to 12. However, I recommend both titles for all ages. My first selection is The Hobbit, a modern classic by J.R.R. Tolkien, and secondly, Brendan Mull's Fablehaven, the series that introduced him as an exciting new fantasy writer. This copy of The Hobbit is a newer edition published for the 75th anniversary. It is a pocket-size, library-bound hardcover. It has Tolkien's original maps and drawings included. This is the front gate at Lonely Mountain and his drawing of Bilbo's front hall at Bag End. So this is a lovely little book. The Hobbit was published in England in September of 1937, and the first printing sold out by December of that same year. Houghton Mifflin then published in America the following year, and since then it has been published in 50 different editions and in 59 languages. The tale of the Hobbit begins like this. In a hole in the ground there lived a hobbit, not a nasty, dirty, wet hole filled with the ends of worms and oozy smells, nor yet a dry, bare, sandy hole with nothing in it to sit down on or to eat. It was a hobbit hole, and that means comfort. The Hobbit in question, of course, is Bilbo Baggins, who has been made famous recently by the movies based on this book. Remember, though, if you've seen the movies, you only know part of the story, as much of the theatrical version was filled out with portions of Tolkien's mythology of Middle-earth, the Silmarillion. Bilbo leads a quiet and unambitious life, and therefore is very much a homebody, perfectly happy to be in his comfortable home under the hill. His idea of traveling extends no further than a trip to his own pantry or cellar. But this all ends one morning when the famous but mistrusted wizard Gandalf shows up uninvited for a chat and a pipe. Not long after Gandalf's mysterious visit is Bilbo inconvenienced by unannounced visitors, 13 of them to be exact. Bilbo soon finds he has been employed as a burglar and the 14th member of Thorin Oakenshield's company. Thorin and company have orchestrated a plot to enter and reclaim their ancestral home in Lonely Mountain that has been inhabited these long years by the dragon Smaug, and an ancient and dangerous creature. Bilbo hesitantly joins their quest, unaware that on his journey he will encounter a magic ring, and his life will become intertwined with a sad but frightening creature known as Gollum. In no time at all, Bilbo is off on a wondrous adventure to retrieve a mysterious treasure from the dragon's hoard. Much to his dismay, he and his dwarf companions are on the road without so much as an extra handkerchief, but there's no turning back. He will also discover his unknown talents for troll charming, spider slaying, and prison breaking. He and his companions will have terrifying encounters with stone giants, wolf-riding goblins, and shape-shifting bears. Bilbo must abandon his way of life and become the unlikely hero. The Hobbit, or There and Back Again as Bilbo calls his adventure, is a splendid account of a glorious adventure that is suspenseful and sprinkled with tantalizing and witty humor. The Hobbit is for readers who appreciate fine adventure, and of course, this is the prelude to The Lord of the Rings. This book is all right for strong 5th grade readers, but is recommended for 6th and 12th grade. I recommend this for all ages, as it is an excellent read out loud for children as young as 10 and complex enough for adult readers. Its Lexile is run 1000. Now that we have explored a modern classic, we move on to a newer title. This is the paperback edition of Fablehaven Book 1 with its original cover art. It has been since changed, so what you find on the shelves in your library or at your bookstore may no longer look like my copy. Brendan Mull's Fablehaven is the first of a 5-book series. It was first published in 2006. Brendan Dorman's illustrations are featured throughout the book. Fablehaven is home to magical creatures. For centuries, mystical creatures of all description have gathered to this hidden refuge to prevent their extinction. The secret preserve is one of the last strongholds of true magic, It also serves as a prison for ancient and dark magical villains. But is Fablehaven as safe as its caretakers want it to be? Well, actually, no, it's quite the opposite. From the first moment I encountered it, though, I knew this was going to be a spectacular read. Here's a small excerpt of The Midsummer's Night. This is a selection from Chapter 10, Midsummer's Eve. Dale had carved more than 200 jack-o'-lanterns, but not quite 30 fairies had reported duty, many fewer than Grandpa had expected, even with the recently strained relations. 8 of the fairy lanterns were placed on the roof outside the attic, 4 on each window. Glow sticks illuminated most of the pumpkins, 2 in each. Grandpa Sorensen apparently ordered them in bulk. Will it start right when the sun goes down? Seth asked. Things won't really get going until twilight fades, Grandpa said, setting the poker beside the other fire irons. But the hour has come for you children to retire to your rooms. Brendan Mull offers a fresh and exciting platform from which to launch his brilliant story. The book offers elements of classic mythology for lovers of The Hobbit and Percy Jackson. It has traps, puzzles, and hidden rooms that rival that of the Indiana Jones adventures. Each of his continuing stories surprised and delighted me with new and magical possibilities. He flirts with pure creepiness, and that keeps the reader on their toes at all times. The current caretakers of this preserve are the Sorensens. This summer they have finally invited their grandkids Kendra and Seth to stay for a visit. The kids have no idea that their grandfather is the current caretaker of Fablehaven, and that he runs it with the help of Grandma, their hired hand Dale, and the housekeeper Lena. The ancient laws imposed upon Fablehaven, nestled behind the gated woods, keep relative order among its inhabitants, but it takes a lot of powerful magic and a cunning staff to keep greedy trolls, mischievous satyrs, plotting witches, spiteful imps, and jealous fairies in check. Seth and Kendra soon learn that they cannot run amuck of the magical creatures and not be affected. Kendra forms a close connection to the large fairy population, and Seth becomes friends with the mischievous satyrs who have a big craving for batteries. Eventually, a curious and reckless Seth tips the balance of power and sets a series of events into motion. Dark magic and evil forces are unleashed, and now Seth and Kendra face the greatest challenge of their lives. After spending a terrifying night on Midsummer's Eve locked in their room, they awake to find the house nearly destroyed. It seems that Grandpa is missing, their friend Dale has been turned into a statue, and now their only companion is a friendly hen that all of a sudden appeared. Now, with no adults to help, the kids are alone to save their family, Fablehaven, and perhaps even the world. Kendra and Seth must find the courage to do what they fear most. This book and its companions are best suited for 5th and 6th grade, but again, entertaining for adults and a great read aloud for 10 and up. I would caution using it with children younger than 10 because of the scary scenarios and ferocious characters. The Lexile range on this book is 700. I hope that you enjoyed learning about these selections of books, and I would utilize your local library and bookstores to read these and other fabulous fantasy titles. Here are some that I would also recommend you try. Thank you.